What's good, y'all? Today we got the Madden 26 full feature reveal. We went over it in the reaction trailer, but this is just an overview of everything. Shout out
It's
to
officially Madden
shout out to Eric Ray, brother.
26 reveal day. They just dropped a trailer and a bunch of info. Now, this video is sponsored by
Alright,
EA
yeah.
because they did get some of this info out early so that I could get the video ready quickly for you guys. I can't just post the full trailer because there's copyright music and stuff, but we're going to get into the blog in a minute. But just notice in the trailer some of the stuff they touched on. They did a good bit for the game this year, and you're going to find out a lot more when the actual deep dives come out. But notice they focused a lot on the pregame intros. You see mascots, you see real world intros. Each team kind of has their real life intro in the game now. They kind of heavily focused on weather effects because they finally upgraded the weather tremendously, and it affects the gameplay and it looks a lot better. They also kind of focus on signature QB throws, kind of showing their real life throws and then showing that you can do that now in the game. So they touched on a lot of good things in the trailer. I think for a reveal trailer, they definitely hit on some of the big changes that they did make this year. But we're going to jump into this vlog in a second. If you are new to the channel and you don't want to miss out on all the info, especially franchise presentation, there's a lot of stuff they did this year. Those deep dives will be dropping soon. Make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on so you don't miss those videos when they drop. Also, there's going to be a beta soon. I don't know if I'm going to have codes to give away. Usually I do. So if you want a chance, follow me on my socials. That's where I will give them away if I get them. We should be getting that pretty soon. So let's get into the reveal blog for Madden 26. Keep in mind that this first reveal blog kind of just briefly touches on some of the bigger aspects of the game, but my favorite part are the deep dives. They come a little bit later because they go more in depth on those big things, but also they touch on all the little details and the smaller things they're adding to the game, which to me, all those small things really add up to make a big difference. So we're not going to find out every single thing about 26 today, but we're going to find out some good information to get us started. So let's start with gameplay. It says, when we talk about gameplay for Madden 26, we're talking about real-world NFL data, seeing the tendencies and traits of the league's superstars, experiencing real football weather on the virtual gridiron, strategizing around the real X's and O's of football, and real community feedback coming through each snap, truly making every game you play feel different. We can't share everything today, but we're going to roll through some of our favorite gameplay features right now. Our Madden NFL 26 gameplay deep dive is on the horizon, and we can't wait to show you what we've been cooking. So again, they're going to touch on a little bit right here, but it's going to get much deeper when they do the deep dive. So, starting with QB DNA, it says the quarterback is the most iconic position in all of sports. To reflect that, Madden 26 has completely reimagined quarterback mechanics from animation to behaviors with our QB DNA. Not only are we watching Josh Allen's rocket arm fire off a deep pass mid-jump, you're doing that when you're playing as Josh Allen too. More than 500 new quarterback animations were added for Madden 26. QB signatures in Madden 26 are a visual replication of everything from how a quarterback holds the football in the pocket to their arm slot when slinging it down the field. We've overhauled our player trait system with 50 new player traits.
Look, y'all, just tweeted Madden 26, low key looking like AW, just off reading features. Hope I'm not wrong.
Across numerous positions, all backed by real-world NFL tendency data. Does your quarterback in real life throw more often on the right side of the field? Joe Burrow, for example, will be more likely to set his feet before throwing than other quarterbacks. Josh Allen, as fearless as he is in real life, will be trucking defenders as he takes a chance to scramble for the first down. Whether it's Lamar Jackson getting shifty to avoid his hits or Matt Stafford dropping his arm down to finesse a screen pass, pocket presence, scrambling tendencies, and passing styles reflect the unique traits of today's stars and tomorrow's legends. Now, this is something I can't wait for you guys to find out more about because this is kind of the first time that I feel like they really made the quarterbacks look different on field from the little bit that I played. An example I had is when I played against Kyler Murray, when things broke down, he kind of started scrambling. And you know how Kyler Murray has that like little toddler run where, he kind of just little bitty steps, but he moves really fast and it's kind of chaotic, but he still keeps his eyes downfield and tries to get that last minute pass off. He was doing that in game. And when they talk about those 50 new player traits, they have traits
Okay, I ain't gonna lie, that's dope.
players that kind of
That's
mimic what they
dope.
do in real life. So guys like a Josh Allen or a Kyler Murray who they will move around a little bit in that pocket, or Lamar Jackson as well. They'll try to buy time, but they always kind of keep their eyes downfield, and they're still always looking to get that pass off at the last minute and not always scramble. Like, you'll see them do things like that. So there's a bunch of different traits for these guys. They all have signature releases and throws. Matt Stafford can hit a sidearm and all those little things, adjusting on the fly in the pocket. Pretty cool stuff. I can't wait for them to show more of that. Moving on to Coach DNA, it says introducing a Coach DNA, a groundbreaking feature that brings the personalities and tendencies of the NFL head coaches to Madden 26. Powered by machine learning stemming from years of real-world data, Coach DNA mirrors the unique styles and philosophies of NFL coaches. 4th and 3, you better be ready for Dan Campbell and the Lions to try getting a first down. Passing successfully on the Vikings, expect more creative blitzes from their unpredictable defense. This data-driven play calling brings real-life head coach tendencies to the virtual gridiron. Our second piece of Coach DNA is an overhaul of coach suggestions that also contains what we call Coach Speak. If you're playing as the Lions, Dan Campbell will offer various suggestions depending on down and distance, true to the Detroit Lions' tendencies, and mirror the way Campbell talks. On top of that, we have real-time coaching AI where the CPU teams will make pre-snap adjustments and suggest play calls that specifically counter your opponent's tactics. We received a ton of feedback on our playbooks from the previous year, and we're happy to announce that we have nearly 1,000 new plays at launch of Madden 26. Our playbooks contain the current trend of motion and shift-based offenses you see from teams like San Francisco and Miami. For our defensive playbooks, you'll find exotic blitz packages, defensive disguises, and the all-new stunts and twists to lock down your opponents. Now, this is all pretty cool here. I think you're going to find out more about this when they talk about franchise, because this is definitely a bigger thing for franchise, in my opinion, especially if you're a person that uses coach suggestions. The coaches will actually give you feedback and kind of give you reasoning for why they're suggesting what they're suggesting to do, and it's in line with how those coaches would typically coach.
Guess what? I'm gonna still do my own thing. I'm still
also, the whole game planning thing, again, when we get to franchise,
I'm still doing my own thing.
These coaches will really game plan around what you do, like what your tendencies are, what kind of plays you run, the weather, injuries, things like that. I can't speak too much on that yet, I think, but I think this is going to be huge for franchise if implemented correctly, and I can't wait for you guys to learn more about that. Moving on, wear and tear and new depth chart positions. The
best feature right here.
Two things a lot of people have wanted. It says modernize roster management at strategic depth chart with the wear and tear system and dynamic substitutions. Wear and tear affects player performance, while dynamic substitutions allow seamless situational swaps without pausing gameplay. Highly requested new depth chart positions modernize Madden NFL 26 featuring edge, nose tackle, long snapper, and the versatile gadget position. This upcoming NFL season could see a dynamic, consistent two-way player in Travis Hunter, and Madden 26 is ready. Hunter will have abilities that counteract some of the wear and tear of playing both ways, meaning you can't just throw any receiver at cornerback and expect the same result. So yes, we finally have updated terminology in the game with edge, nose tackle, all that stuff. I actually have a long snapper position that does have a long snapper rating, so you can't just throw anybody in at long snapper. That's pretty cool. Long overdue. And wear and tear is now in the game, which, I mean, it was good in college. People are going to want to see it over in Madden now. Going to be huge again for, like, franchise and superstar mode. More strategy there. And they mentioned those dynamic substitutions, which I think is a really cool feature where now when you're on the field, you can literally hit the D-pad and you can bring up your roster and you can literally sub people from that menu. So then
I like that.
Play, it'll substitute out.
I like that, bro.
You don't have to do it at the play call screen or pause the game. So that's a pretty
why has that feature taken so long to be added to a Madden game? Knowing like the real life substitutions and stuff, like that feature should have been like
cool new feature that just kind of makes substitution.
Like I feel like Madden devs are just now like really trying,
face
bro.
The dual challenge of battling each other on the field while contending with various harsh weather conditions through the season, and we have brought that to life with football weather in Madden 26. We've completely overhauled not just the visuals, but also the effects of weather conditions. Heavy snow, fog, rain, and everything in between will affect movement, visibility, stamina, and ball control. If you're playing in a Madden NFL Snow Bowl, you'll notice players slipping or moving as clunky as they would in a real-life blizzard. There's new physics from how players move to how the ball carriers will be adjusted to mimic these weather conditions, and it says think again about that chip shot field goal in heavy weather. We've also added finer details making the elements a part of home field where cold weather teams will not get as impacted when playing in the cold and wet as warm weather teams, but to balance this when playing in extreme heat, those cold weather teams will tire out faster, which is a little detail with a big impact that came straight from NFL players. So yeah, I mean, the weather looks great this year. We finally have that heavy snow, heavy rain. We even have fog mixed in. And like, if you're playing in heavy snow, I did play a game like this down at EA. You know, you can't even really see the back judge completely. Like, that's how foggy and snowy it is. And, you know, the players will kind of stumble around, put their hand in the ground to keep their balance. But I was told, like, for franchise or those modes like that, there are sliders for this, so you can adjust how much the weather does affect the game. You can turn that off completely and just have the weather be visual.
Hey, bro, now if you turn that off, bro, you're lame.
because it's your game. You know, play it how you want. If you want just the visual of the weather, you can have that. But if you want the effects too, you can also have that. It's in your control. Moving on to foundational football, it says football fundamentals are not optional, they're essential, so we're doubling down on core football principles to give players more depth and control. Explosive locomotion, run and pass blocking, defensive zone coverage, physics, and new mechanics are at the forefront of improvements as we heard your feedback. When we say explosive NFL gameplay, here's what it means to us. Simply that the left stick feeling has never felt better in Madden. It's not just fast players are fast, the end. Our explosive locomotion differentiates the north to south speed of athletes like Tyreek Hill versus the wiggly east to west players like Jahmyr Gibbs. With explosive locomotion, a player who runs a 4.2 40-yard dash will feel like a player who runs a 4.2 40. We want our players to feel the difference between fast and explosive in Madden 26. Custom defensive zones and adaptive coverage let you game plan and adjust like a real NFL coordinator. With custom defensive zones, you'll be able to set the depth of your zone defenders at the line of scrimmage to take away that pesky corner route from your opponent. Do you want your safeties to align to a certain hash, the passing strength, or elsewhere? AI logic, custom zones, and more deliver an overhaul to defensive coverage in Madden 26. And again, they say the gameplay deep dive is coming soon, but I want to touch on some of this. So they did speed up the game finally. It's not college football fast. Don't expect that. It's not going to be a 1-to-1 to college, but it's much faster than Madden has been over the last few years. It's kind of a good balance between keeping it a little more realistic, but not as too far to the arcadey side as college is. Even though I prefer college a little bit better, I think it's fun. I think they found a pretty good balance here, so you do feel some explosiveness, you do feel more control, you don't feel as stuck in the mud as the previous like 4 Maddens have been. So I think they found a good balance, and you do notice the separation more with the fast players. Like, you can really pull away, or like even if a guy has a good angle on you but you're just a blazing fast guy like Tyreek, you see those plays like down the sideline in real life where it looks like a guy's got a good angle and he gets, half a yard to the guy and he just can't fully reach out and just stop him, because a guy like Tyreek can just really hit that last gear and pull away. You kind of see more of that in this game, which I think is really cool. And custom defensive zones, for those that are wondering, it's kind of like zone drops, but you can do them individually on the fly. So think of how route stimming was last year, like on the field when you can stem a route 30 yards down the field. If you want, you can stem it 15 yards down the field. You can do the same thing with individual zones to kind of counteract those route stems, which I think is pretty cool. Now let's move on to franchise mode. Again, they're kind of just going to give us a little taste here. I promise you they did a ton for franchise this year. I'm not lying to you guys. When the deep dive comes out, you'll see the detail of that and presentation kind of hand in hand. But they're touching on some things here, so let's talk about it. It says, first things first, in the NFL, no two coaches are alike. Now in Madden, that's also true. We've added hundreds of new heads and brand new gear for when you're creating your coach and style. Also, think about what this might mean for college football. They're not going to just do it in one game, so just think about that. We're also introducing a new metagame with coach abilities in Madden 26. You can now check out the scouting report and customize your game plan against your opponent each week. Coach abilities are also more than just a menu item. They can trigger via in-game scenarios. For example, one ability could increase your offensive tackle success against power moves. Leveling up your coach gets you access to more abilities, and leveling up is now accomplished in a multitude of ways, from on-field success to scouting and drafting. And of course, CPU teams will be able to take advantage of these game plans as well. So just to interject right there, it seems like they kind of made the coachability system similar to how it is in college. So no more of that kind of coach tree the coach tree affected some things, but it didn't feel like it did much. This is more of a full ability system that you can constantly tier and upgrade and kind of build your coach the way you want. That's what it looked like to me. You can set a couple of abilities each game to game plan around the team you're playing, like based on their weather, their injuries, how they're actually playing. They really overhauled game playing. They're not talking about it a whole lot here, but what they showed in the presentation, it's a lot more in depth than what we've seen before. And they even mentioned if you don't use certain abilities for so long, you can actually lose them too. So you have to be sure that you're actually actively using these abilities, because if you're not, then clearly those abilities aren't aligning with who your coach is, so you can lose them. And they're going to go more in depth with this with franchise, but I kind of want to just add some of my own tidbits in there, because I think this has the potential to be a really cool system for Madden going forward. Moving on, it says playbooks become a larger focus of your franchise this year with play sheets. Play sheets are another component of your weekly game planning, allowing you to add extra plays to your playbook or upgrade existing plays for the upcoming game. The play sheets you'll be able to access depends on how you level up your coach. So again, this is something we'll find out more about when they do the franchise deep dive. They're really just giving us the bare minimum info on this here, but I promise there's a lot more to all of this. Moving on, it says managing player wear and tear is now a part of franchise strategy. Remember when we mentioned Travis Hunter in the gameplay section? Upgraded trainer rules mean trainer abilities are used to manage wear and tear. So you can get those abilities to help manage your players. If you have a better medical staff, for example, or whatever you call it, that can help your players and their wear and tear. Also, you've got to really monitor this when you're talking about practicing, how you're doing full pads versus half pads. Also, if you want to play a guy into the ground, he's going to experience that later in the season. And again, coaches will game plan around your wear and tear. So if they see that your running back late in the season is just completely running to the ground, right, they're going to adjust how they play because they know, this guy just ain't got a lot of gas in him right now. So
Oh, now that is lit.
Or maybe your left tackle has really bad wear
like
and tear,
that.
and they're like, you know what, we're going to send some heavy blitzes at his side. We're probably going to get home. So I really want to see this in practice because, they can say that it's going to work that way. We actually have to see it work that way, but I think it sounds really good. It says franchise mode comes alive with enhanced presentation, including halftime shows and weekly recaps with Scott Hansen and all new custom broadcast packages for Sunday.
Hey, hopefully, that was in the thing. I must have skipped over that, but hopefully that means like Sunday night football, Monday night football, and Thursday night football. Who runs those? NBC, ESPN, and Amazon Prime. Hopefully they got a deal
Thursday
or something.
Night primetime games. It says more on
different scoreboards. Please, man.
Again,
please.
They gave you the bare kind of minimum info here. There's so much more than this, but I'm glad that you guys at least know, yes, finally we got a real halftime show, which maybe shows replays. I don't know. We'll see when the info comes out. Weekly recaps, Scott Hansen, which is a nice touch. New broadcast packages for Sunday, Monday, Thursday. Each primetime game feels different. Yes, different scoreboards, all that kind of good stuff.
Oh, okay. W then.
I can't wait for you guys to really see more of this because I'm just so glad that stuff is finally here. Moving on to presentation. So they are going to touch a little bit more on presentation itself in this blog. It says, NFL atmospheres come to life with revamped authenticity in Madden 26. Experience team-specific runouts, crowd chants, mascots, and pregame traditions such as Minnesota's Skull Chant or Baltimore's Light Show. Yes, they showed us a lot of these. Hey, for my Saints fans, they even got the Who Dat chant before the game in there, so that's pretty cool as well. We saw a little bit of the runouts. They looked pretty epic. Like, it kind of, like the ones that we saw, it kind of felt like, yeah, this is what you would see if you went to the NFL game. So I think college football really helped push this stuff forward, seeing how well that was received last year. They're like, hey, why don't we put this in Madden? And then you got the mascots also, which they look really great. Again, it's just, finally we got these presentation things that we've been dying to have in this game. Moving on, it says, let's talk head coaches. More gear means more authentic-looking coaches. Dan Campbell is going to have his signature Dan Campbell look on the sidelines, complete with his t-shirt or rolled-up long sleeve. Raheem Morris will be walking the sideline in Jordans. And yeah, there's just a ton of coach customization this year. You can make your coach look pretty crazy. I'm just saying that. There's actually way more options than I thought. Like, I thought they'd add like 10, 15 pieces, which, like, all right, that's cool. Like, we can make do. But I think they added, I don't want to get this wrong, but I feel like
EA is going all in with Madden this year, bro.
Trust me, it's a lot of stuff.
They're not trying to lose that license.
In terms of uniforms, the teams added more alternate and classic jerseys from Nike, including the Texans redesign. Stadium edge walls and field arts will now be aligned with specific uniforms. Bengals rocking a whiteout, Buccaneers and the creamsicles. The field logos will match those uniforms. Another in-stadium detail we added, in-venue prompt graphics packages from teams' real-life jumbotrons will be in the game. So yes, all of the field art will match team uniforms finally, because that looked really bad. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. It looks so much better now. And for some teams, there's multiple different field arts for multiple different uniforms. Also, yes, they got real-life graphics on the Jumbotron. So no more when you look at the Jumbotron will it just say, like, Ravens, Ravens, Ravens. It'll have the actual graphics that the real teams use. And I think that's pretty cool because, again, anything that makes it look more realistic, I'm all for that. And again, we're going to find out a lot more about these details soon, but they're just giving you that little taste right now. Moving on to Superstar. So they definitely kind of reworked Superstar this year. I'm going to be honest, they even said themselves, you know, they think in a couple years Superstar will be a lot more players' favorite mode, but they're kind of finally, like, redoing it, I think, hopefully in the right way. I think they got a new guy working on it now who kind of sees what it should be more than, you know, how it was in the past. So let's talk about Superstar mode. It says, from rookie hopeful to legendary icon, every week brings fresh story of the week narratives that pull you deeper into the heart of the game. Career chapters will guide you down the path of becoming a superstar. Start as a bench player and work your way into different phases of your career by meeting objectives, but fail to please your coach and you could find yourself back on the bench and looking at a redemption arc. Build and manage crucial relationships with coaches, teammates, and agents through the immersive sphere of influence system, because who you know off the field can be just as important as what you do on it. Keep your body in peak shape by balancing wear and tear, push your limits in intense Superstar live events, and sharpen your skills to climb the way to a 99 rating. Now, they barely said anything here. I kind of want to see what that deep dive looks like for this because they showed us quite a bit for Superstar. But yes, you don't just start now right out of the gate unless maybe you're just like a star player that's drafted high. You can have different arcs. And what they said, I'd love to see if it's true, they said everybody should play this mode and no two people should have really the exact same path. Or you could play it 5 times in a row and have 5 very different paths.
Oh, so okay, I like that.
They said, you can have like a Brock Purdy arc, for example, where you're drafted late and you're a backup, but they'll give you chances to get into the game somehow. Like maybe the starter goes down, and that's a scenario for you to come in, meet objectives, and then maybe you can earn your way into a starting spot. Or, maybe they pull a QB at halftime or right before halftime rather, because you've just been really bad in the first half, and they give you a drive to see what you can do. Or they pull them late in the game in a blowout, you come in and you show some stuff, right? It kind of looked like it was more similar to how Road to Glory is, where you can build up things, maybe
that's
like
a W,
and kind of earn different things, like opening up the playbook more, opening up hot routing. They didn't go all the way in depth with it, I don't think, when they showed us, but that's what it kind of looked like in the presentation. So I'm really excited to see how this plays out. Again, all the different people you'll meet kind of influences how the fans, teammates, and coaches think of you. Like, you can have your agents, you can have relationships with your coaches, you have off-the-field friends, or you'll have like a tattoo artist that is like a relationship, and maybe you're seeing him because you're trying to get inked up, but other people may view you differently because you're more worried about this than football. It's just a lot of different things they kind of threw at us. I really want to see how this plays out in game, and I want to see kind of what they talk about more in the deep dive so I can read more into it. But it sounded like the right direction. It sounded like old Superstar mode, but reimagined today how it should be. So I'm excited to see where that goes, not only this year but in the coming years. And then they also talk about Ultimate Team. I know a lot of you here don't really care about Ultimate Team that much. There are a few cool new things with that. They said that they're giving solo players kind of a little bit of an overhaul, giving more solo reward structures from the ground up to focus on progression, pacing, and rewards. They're also offering solo champions, a new escalated difficulty mode to showcase your solo prowess. They're also bringing back all new live events. This was probably the coolest thing I saw for Ultimate Team, in my opinion. Like a lot of different line events where they're going to restrict your lineup building in certain situations. So maybe they make you just build a team of all NFC North players. That was one example they told us.
Yeah, that sounds bad. I don't even lie. That sounds lame, bro.
Say, like, you have to meet these requirements and then play other teams like that for rewards. I think it's pretty cool. Another quality of life thing they did for Ultimate Team is called Pack Helper. So when you're opening packs, essentially, it can kind of tell you, if that card is better than your current starter. You'll see auction house information, like how much it's selling for right now. I think you can even like quick sell it for, the lowest price that it's currently going for on the auction house, just to kind of get it sold quickly. Little quality of life things there for people that open packs. So, I don't really play much Ultimate Team these days, but if you do play, I think that would be a feature that you would like. Make sure to stay tuned for all the deep dives, and if you want to catch up on all the College Football 26 information that we know, make sure to check out this video right here on the screen.
Okay, hey. Madden 26, man. It might be the one. It might be the game, bro. I'm looking, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I'm actually looking forward to it. Now we gotta see. We heard college football. Now we got Madden. We just waiting on the worst one. Well, Madden was the worst one, but now Madden has officially, after seeing all these, Madden has officially passed NBA 2K. NBA 2K is now officially the worst sports franchise. And yes, MLB and they say, well, they're all better than NBA 2K. No lie. But yeah, bro, that's what I'm saying. It took them 9 years to actually try on the game, man. Hey, man, like, comment, subscribe, man. On the road to 200.